How
So
much is your
that's
book on
basically
Amazon?
me. On Amazon right now. The hard copy is $8, and then the Kindle is $6. That was me when I first came. I because I have a lot of allergies,
Mm,
so I can't eat pork and fish and seafood.
mm,
And because all the ingredients are written in Japanese,
mm.
the first time when I came, I was so frustrated. I
Yeah.
almost cried one time in the convenience store.
How is it possible to come to Japan?
Students
Mm,
who want to come to Japan,
mm,
the most important thing before you even think about getting a scholarship is make sure your performance at school is good. You have good grades at your university.
mm,
Because when you start applying for the next scholarship, for example,
mm.
there's a screening process, and one of the things they check for is your
Great.
grades. Yeah.
So thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here and for you to accept to do this interview. Should I say interview? It's like African talk.
It's a casual talk.
It's a casual talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that I would meet other African people, especially girls.
Hmm. I know the feeling.
Yeah, so I feel like it's a I don't know, it's a very good time for me to talk to African girls and especially who is part of almost East African part. The
Hmm. Yeah.
culture, the connectivity is almost like a linked easily.
And the food.
The food. Actually, you can one day cook for me. I like to eat
African
others'
food.
food. Mm,
It's a bit hard for me with Zambian food
mm,
because Nigerian food is easier to find here.
mm,
Have you noticed West African food? It's easier to find traditional West African food here because there are a lot of
mm.
Nigerians,
Yeah,
and there's some who've actually made a business out of it. They bring in Nigerian traditional food and they sell to Nigerians.
yeah.
So, like, you know how we eat the maize meal, the we call it inshima
Mm-hmm.
in Zambia. It's
Mm,
difficult to find the type of maize meal we use because we use white maize usually.
exactly.
Nigerians usually use cassava.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually use white maize, and it's difficult to find it. So last time, the only reason I had some was because
Mm,
a Japanese friend of mine from Zambia
mm.
was traveling here, so she brought me some. So I had
Uh,
some.
I don't know. I have a friend who's living in Osaka.
Hmm.
She said that maybe it's possible to get white maize. I'm not sure, but from my experience, is that here there is yellow maize,
Yes, there's yellow maize.
which is not like comfortable making maybe
No.
ugali, like this kind of
Yes,
porridge.
it's
Sometimes
not.
for us, it's made like many stuff.
Hmm.
So
It's different. The taste is different. It's definitely different.
I think for me, like a boy who is like who recently learned to cook, often just like when I come to Japan, because I
Hmm.
wasn't used to cook every day. Sometimes it's hard for me to eat in Japan.
Who was cooking for you?
Yeah, at our university we have like a group of students, and
Hmm.
then like we international students like form a group, one group, and then we can look for someone. We
Hmm.
contribute money, and then there is someone who will be cooking for us. So
Oh.
so that anytime I was like, okay, lunch, breakfast, lunch,
Uh-huh.
dinner is there already. Someone have already prepared. Then I have to go to
So
eat
easy.
as long as I paid.
Yeah.
But here,
Uh-huh.
I
You
go
have
to
to cook,
co
huh?
I go to combine. I just find everything in Japanese. I just find everything is manufactured. I just say, I'm used of fresh food. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if this food is eatable or not. It means like to try new food, I have to rely on friends. Like, is this
Mm-hmm.
eatable? Is this a
Mm-hmm.
food? How do they make it? Yeah, it's not easier
Yeah.
sometimes.
That was me when I first came. I because I have a lot of allergies,
Mm,
so I can't eat pork and fish and seafood. And
mm,
because all the ingredients are written in Japanese,
mm,
the first time when I came, I was so frustrated. I
yeah.
almost cried one time in the convenience store because
Mm,
I couldn't read. Everything was in Japanese. But then after making some friends, they were able to
Mm.
help me. Yeah.
You have many friends after which you're like sometimes jealous. I have many friends, so, but I don't know. It's like we are not connected. It's like, what am I missing to connect friends? Like sometimes I feel like I
Yeah.
don't have them easily.
I think it's the amount of time, maybe. I've been
Mm.
here almost 3 years.
3 years?
So, yeah, almost 3 years. It's going to be 3 years in September.
Oh,
Yes.
oh my gosh! I was thinking you are here for almost one year. 3 years.
No, three.
That's
Yes.
Takusan.
Because when I first came,
Mm-hmm.
I was a research student
Mm-hmm.
first so that I could learn Japanese before taking the entrance exam. Because
Mm-hmm.
at Tufts, you have to take the entrance exam if you want to be a master's student.
Yeah.
So you can't take the entrance exam if you don't speak Japanese, unless the Peace and Conflict Studies course, that's the
Mm.
only one where the entrance exam is in English completely.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to study Japanese for the first year and a half. I was just studying Japanese and preparing for the entrance exam. And then April 2020, I started my master's program. So I
Oh,
came
Garimashita.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So
September
how
2018.
how long like actually like does maybe Japanese course take?
I was taking the JLC, the
Mm-hmm.
Japanese Language Center
Mm.
classes.
Mm.
So I skipped level 100
Mm.
and started from 200. So
Mm.
I studied 200, 300, and 400.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 semesters.
Mm. Three
Yeah.
semester. Why did you skip
Yeah.
like a
So
100?
I studied on my own a little bit so that when taking the proficiency test, I was put in 200 and not in 100.
That means
Yeah,
like
because if
100
you
is for
start with
basic for
yeah, if you start with
beginner.
100, it's
Mm.
very, very basic. It's hiragana,
Mm.
katakana,
Mm.
and then you start like my name is, you know. So at least from 200, it's a little bit advanced grammar, and then yeah, you go on. Though it was difficult, like 200 was very challenging for me
Mm.
because all the people in my class had been studying Japanese for at least 3 or 4 years.
Oh, I
And I
can
had only
understand.
studied it for a few months. So you can see the level difference.
I was wondering
So
how you were seated in the class. How
I
could
was
you
one
sit?
of the worst in my
I
class,
want
but
to
I
know
was
like
lucky.
the position you were sitting in the class. Were you seated like this or like?
I was always worried, and I was the only Black person in my class.
Hmm.
So it was very challenging. But I was lucky. I had a very good friend from Spain who
Hmm.
was very good at Japanese, and she was sitting next to me in class.
Mhm.
So when I don't understand, I would ask her, and she would help.
Wow.
Mm.
So are your classmates still here or they have gone back?
The first group that came with me in 2018,
Mm.
coincidentally, were actually all on the same flight. It was so interesting.
Mm.
Most of the students who came in 2018 went back in 2019. Some went back last year.
Mm.
But there are a few who took the entrance exam, like me, who are
Mm.
still here as master's students. Yeah.
So when you take entrance exam, that means like you have to they measure your level for Japanese. It's to measure like how.
No,
Mm.
not really. They
Mm.
measure your skills in the course you want to major in. So for
Mm.
me, because it was linguistics and
Mm.
cultural studies and literature and things like that, so my written exam was about linguistics
Mm.
and a passage about literature. You read and you explain the passage. You answer questions about linguistics, like definitions. What is phonology, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second part of the exam is an interview, 20 minutes in
Mm.
Japanese.
Mm.
20-minute interview, and you have three professors and just
Mm.
you. And they ask you about your research. First, they ask you why you want to be at that university
Mm.
and why you want to study linguistics. And after that, they ask you to explain your research and why it's important and relevant to your field of study
Yeah.
and your future plans after graduating.
So is your research now concentrating, is it based in Japan or you will contact like field study in Zambia?
My research is both
Mm,
to do with the Japanese language and one of the languages from Zambia.
mm,
So, because I'm focusing on teaching Japanese
mhm.
and teaching Zambian students Japanese, my research is a comparative study of the Japanese language and the Bemba language. So,
Bemba
I'm trying to
language.
show Zambian students that there's
Uh-huh.
some similarities with their languages and the Japanese language.
Are you sure?
And that way it will be easier. Yes. Things like, as a linguist, things like phonology and phonetics,
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Mm,
So because of in Japanese, it's always a consonant and a vowel, or a
mhm,
vowel and a consonant when you're
mhm,
pronouncing the word.
mm,
It's the same with most Zambian languages. And also borrowed words, like English words that exist in Japanese. For example, a table
mm.
in Japanese is teburu.
Table.
Yes.
Computer,
So
computer, computer.
yes, exactly. So the borrowed words in Bemba also
Mm,
sound like the borrowed words in Japanese. So, for example, table in Bemba
mm,
is tebulu. The difference is we have L,
mm,
they don't have an L. They have something between an L and an R. So, and
mm,
also things like keigo. I
mhm.
don't know if you're familiar with keigo.
Okay,
That's
go.
the
Yeah.
polite language. So
Mm,
in Japanese, it has different levels of Japanese. There's casual Japanese where instead of saying wakarimasu, you say wakaru.
mhm,
And in Zambia, most of our languages have honorifics as well. You have casual Bemba, and then you have
mm,
polite Bemba. So if you're speaking to someone older than you change the form in which you speak.
mhm.
If you're
So,
speaking to your teacher, it's
mhm.
different.
My
Hmm.
question now is like, why did you choose like Bemba? Is your
Hmm.
education in Zambia in Bemba or is it in English or French?
It's in English,
Yeah.
but we also speak our indigenous languages, and Bemba is one of the most widely spoken
Mhm,
of our indigenous languages. So it's easier for Zambians to relate because most Zambians grow up in a bilingual home. They grow up
mhm,
speaking both English and maybe their parents' tribal language. So,
mm,
for example, I grew up in a multilingual home. My mother is from the Lamba tribe and she
mm,
speaks Lamba. But because of the province we grew up on, we also speak Bemba. Bemba is common in the province I grew up in. And then because my father speaks English and Swaka, yeah, I was also speaking
oh my
English. So you
God.
find most Zambians grow up speaking two or three languages. It's quite common.
How many how
So
many how many tribes do you have in Zambia?
72. Yes, 72.
And each one has its own language.
Each one has its own language, but
Uh-huh.
because they're all Bantu languages, there's some
Mm,
similarities. They come from the same root.
oh my God.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I'm surprised because like the way you choose like the local indigenous local language to relate with
Hmm.
Japanese, it's maybe
Hmm.
new to me because other people could relate with the language education, the
Hmm.
language like they use in education. But for you, you chose like for you, do you target like people who are not at university to learn Japanese, or you will also like consider teaching those who are already in the education?
Those who are at university,
Mm,
actually. So the reason I chose Bemba is because when trying to understand Japanese culture, a lot of foreigners, especially from European countries and North America, find it difficult because their societies do not have um, ranking systems like Japanese culture. In
mm,
Japan, it's very important to consider rank,
mhm,
age,
mm.
and
Position.
maybe your social position. What type of job do you
Yeah,
have exactly?
yeah.
And
Mm,
according to the person you're speaking to, your language changes. So a person in a convenience store will
mhm,
respect the customer. So the
mhm.
person at a convenience store will use humble Japanese
Yeah, huh?
when speaking to the customer. When
Mhm,
I'm speaking to my professor, I cannot casually say, Boku wa sensei. Boku wa
Mhm.
boku is I for a man,
Mm,
but if you're speaking to your teacher, it's not so polite. It
mm,
sounds a little bit proud. So you change your type of Japanese depending on who you're speaking to. Yeah. And in our culture, it's the same. If I'm speaking to my boss at work and I'm speaking to him in an indigenous language, I will
mm,
use the most polite form of speaking to him. And previous research showed that most students from countries like America and other European countries as well, they have problems understanding the culture of Japanese honorifics
mm,
because it's different in their culture. And I can give you an example of French.
mhm.
With French, there's a little bit of politeness that you can think of. For example, you can say vous to someone
Yeah.
you've met for the first
Mm,
time
mm,
and to someone older than you
mm,
and someone you're not really close to. But if you're speaking to me, we'll use
mhm.
tu,
Yeah.
tu es.
Dear.
Yeah. But if it's someone older, you say vous êtes,
So,
isn't it? Hmm.
yeah, I want to know, like, for you, okay, my country also have this kind of ranking and other stuff, but it's not very much like I saw in Japan.
Hmm.
So, but from your discussion, like from the your sharing, I hear like your culture, your indigenous like language.
Hmm.
Is it Bambuk?
Bemba.
Bemba. It's a
Hmm.
little bit related to Japan. Did you adapt easily when you come to Japan? Was it easy for you to understand, like to feel integrated?
Well, it was very difficult because as much as I say we have that politeness culture,
Mm,
it's not as high as Japan. Because
mm,
when you're studying politeness research, you find that Japan and Korea are the most studied countries because their societies have the highest levels
mm,
of politeness and ranking.
mm.
So it's not exactly like Japan, it's just a little bit similar in terms of how we choose who to use polite words to and who we respect and things like that. So it was actually difficult for me. It was surprising because African culture, as much as we have a lot of politeness involved, we're
Mm.
very lively
Yeah,
and
open
warm
and
and open people.
yeah,
And you could meet someone for the first time and be very friendly. Like
yeah,
when I met
exactly.
you for the first time, exactly, you can laugh and enjoy so much conversation you just met. But in
Mm,
Japan, that's strange. People
mm.
would look at you in a strange way
Yeah,
and say,
yeah. In
what's
Japan,
going
if you met the first time the person, you would know. You wonder if he likes you or not. Sometime because they
on?
want
Exactly.
first to know
They're
you
very
for
conservative.
like yeah.
They step back. Yeah, they're very
Mm,
conservative, which is different from African culture. So that was surprising for me. And we're naturally loud
mm.
in Africa. Uh, our music is loud. Our personalities are out there. So now here you realize that Japanese people are quiet everywhere on the
Yeah,
train,
in the train,
the
in the
bus.
street, like in
They,
the. I wonder, like people often like if I go in the train, everyone is quiet, but everyone has headphone or earphone,
of
like in
course.
the. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like in a train, no one could talk about. They are quiet, seated, and sometimes at the first time I was confused because I was like,
Mhm.
do I have problem? Do I have
And do you remember
problem?
the buses back home? The buses back home are so loud, so
Yeah,
much music, everyone
music.
talking, people eating.
Yeah.
It's very different. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh my
So
god.
it takes some time to adapt. If you're naturally a quiet person, maybe it's easier. Like for example, for me on the train, it wasn't so difficult because I like reading when I'm traveling, so it
Mm.
wasn't so difficult. But of course, it still felt strange because I'm used to the noise of the buses back home and the music.
Mm.
Yeah, and sometimes I get a little bit anxious if maybe I forgot to put my phone on silent and then it rings. I, I feel so bad because I feel like
Yeah,
all of them are
yeah,
looking at me
yeah. Because like they say, like please put your phone in silent
on
mode
silent mode.
and
Exactly.
don't talk in the train.
Exactly.
sometimes like I feel like why should I decline this call? It's important. I'm in training. Should I really like? I should like no. I should answer, but because I
Yeah,
don't want like everyone to look at me like I say
in a
no.
strange way. Oh, this
Yeah.
foreigner,
Mm,
this gaijin.
I see. So now I want to know like the first food like how did you adapt to go to shopping? What was it like the strategy you used for you to shop? Because myself, I have faced some difficulties like going to shop because it was the first time. And many food in Africa, often they are fresh food. It means that they are from the farm and directly
Hmm.
they are brought to the market. You buy
Or
them
from
as
your
they
garden
are.
at home.
Yeah, they are bought. You buy them as they were planted. It means like as they were harvested. But here in
Yes.
Japan, it's like when something is harvested, often it is manufactured into something else, mixed with something else, and they are found in the packaging. And you don't know if it is a food or not. Sometimes you wonder, like, what is this? So, how did you adapt for
Hmm.
you?
When I first came, the first thing I thought of was I wish I had done research before coming to
Mm,
Japan
yeah.
because I was surprised about a lot of things. The cost of vegetables, for example,
Mm,
because back home you could easily just pick vegetables from your garden or buy them from the market and they're affordable, right? Then you come here and you find vegetables are very expensive because in Japan, because of the hurricanes and the
mm,
monsoons and everything like that, the typhoons, if it's difficult
mm,
to grow a lot of things, so they import a lot of things.
mm,
But I made friends with a girl from Egypt who has
mm.
been in Japan for 3 years now, but before she came in 2018, she had been in Japan again
Yeah.
for 2 years at the same university.
Mm,
So she knew her way around Japan. So the first time that I went shopping for food, I went with her
mm,
and she was able to explain to me how to pick the right food, the fresh food, which is better, which is more affordable. She said, if
mm,
you want cheaper stuff, for example, go to Gyomu in Musashi Sakai.
mm,
She was very helpful in that sense. So the
mm,
best way to get used to the shopping is to find a friend who's
mm.
been in Japan for a very long time.
So,
Or
mm-hmm.
you check on the internet, there's this website called Gaijin Pot,
Yeah.
and it's basically foreigners who've lived in Japan for many years and know these experiences, and they explain to you how to do certain things. So if you search for the topic shopping, you'll
Mm,
find different foreigners who lived in different parts of Japan. So if it's specific, you say shopping in Tokyo, for example,
mm,
and they give you the best places to buy maybe fresh produce,
mm-hmm.
meat. They help you compare the prices
The
which are
prices.
cheap and more expensive.
Yeah.
And for example, how to go to the hospital. I had a big problem with the hospital. The system is different. It's in Japanese. So the foreigners are very helpful on this website, Gaijin Pot. Gaijin Pot, thank you so much. It's so
I didn't
helpful.
know. I didn't know, Gaijin. I thought like it's for job only because
No, no, no. It's
mm,
for everything.
everything.
It's for job hunting. It's how to go to the hospital, what to
Mm-hmm.
do, and they've translated important words. This is so helpful.
So
Like
anyway,
words like waribiki.
do
Uh-huh.
someone like have to have the application in the phone or it's online on the phone?
It's online. You just
Mm,
search. When you search, for example, cheapest places to buy vegetables
mm,
in Japan, the first
mm,
suggestion will be from the website Gaijin Pot, and then they'll explain to you the
mm.
different places. It's very helpful. I use it so often.
Uh,
Yeah. Even
I've heard.
traveling, like if you want to travel as a tourist,
Mhm.
Gaijin Pot is very helpful.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I was like, I last time tried to use it, but I didn't use it like for a long time because I thought it's for only Arbaito. I was looking for information
No, no,
about
no.
how can foreigner look get like Arbaito.
No.
Ah,
Mhm,
surprising.
mhm, mhm. It's for everything. It's very helpful. Yeah, it's so helpful.
Have
So
you
I would
met?
advise most
Mm,
Africans who are coming to Japan
mhm,
to research on Gaijin Pot before coming, so
mhm,
that when they come, it's a lot easier. Even things like your suica for transportation. I
Mm.
wish I had searched that because they explain how to get it, how to use it, how to recharge it. So helpful. Mm.
Wow. So who introduced you to gaijin?
It was an accident. I was searching for stuff on the internet and it popped up. So, do you know what the word gaijin means?
No, I don't know actually.
It's the from our university,
Mhm.
foreign,
Gaidai.
and then jin, person, gaijin, so
Ah,
foreigner. Yeah.
foreigner.
Mm. Yeah, but that's the short form. The
Ah,
full form is gai kokujin,
mm.
but in short they say
Gaikokujin.
gaijin.
Gaijin.
Mm.
Foreigner. Because like many people think, even my friend who shared me gaijin, he told me that
Mm.
it's for only job. He didn't tell me
Uh,
like you can find this stuff like how to buy food, how to do transportation and other stuff. It's only like
mm,
this is used for job.
mm. Yeah,
So
there's also a part where they just explain. A lot of foreigners just
mm,
explain things to you.
does it happen? Like for me, at some time when I arrived here, I thought I would not meet African people. So I wonder how many African people have you met? Where have you met? Like, is it easy
You
to
know
meet them?
the trouble is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo University of Foreign Studies is on the outskirts of Tokyo for starters, and it doesn't have as many Africans because most scholarships, like the scholarship that my university has,
Mm,
all the students go to Hokkaido University. They go to
Hokkaido.
Sapporo.
Mm,
Yes, because the scholarship is specifically a Hokkaido scholarship.
mm,
So you find a lot of Africans who come to study are either in Hokkaido,
mm.
Osaka, Kyoto, and
Kyoto.
the ones in Tokyo are very few, but they're not at our university. Our university is one of
Mm,
the smallest universities. Yeah, they're bigger. Most Africans are in bigger universities. There's a bigger
mm,
community. So when I first came in dorm one, I think we were maybe 5 Africans.
mm,
There was a girl from Ghana who was my
mm,
neighbor,
mm.
and a boy from Nigeria who was across,
Yeah.
a girl from Egypt, the one I told you about earlier,
Mm,
and another guy from Ghana who was on the ground floor. Yeah.
yeah.
So I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, most of the students from Africa were not in the same program that I was in.
Mm.
So it was very rare for me to meet Africans. And so every time I do meet an African, I want to hold on to them and follow them everywhere. Yeah,
I
it's
see.
quite rare here.
So
Yeah.
like according to your experience, maybe comparing to friends you have who study maybe who may be studying in Hokkaido, Osaka, Kyoto, if you have some African friends and Tokyo, where could you recommend someone to go if he's coming from Africa? In the matter of life, opportunities, job, because like I found when you arrive here, it's
Mhm.
important, necessarily maybe important to do arbaito for
Yes, it
students.
is.
So,
A lot of people don't know that even if you're on a scholarship,
mm,
um, the life here in Tokyo is very expensive.
mm,
So it's difficult to just rely on your scholarship. And most Africans that I have met take care of their families as well. And that's the main point of
mm,
furthering your studies so that you have a better life, right?
mm,
So you find a lot of them want to save money and send it back home. So
mm,
if you're relying on your scholarship and you're living in Tokyo, it's very difficult because life in Tokyo is very expensive.
mm.
Starting from if you're, for example, in the dorm, you still have to pay for your dorm,
Yeah,
isn't it? So
electricity.
part of your scholarship money already goes to the dorm.
Half of it is for like spending. Actually, it's like a
Exactly.
house and electricity and the water.
Electricity, water,
Mm,
and gas. And if you're living in an apartment like me,
mm,
again, you have to think about those things. And then, of course, you need to eat. So, groceries. So, you realize that you need to have a part time job. It's important. And if you don't know how to speak Japanese,
mm,
it's difficult to get the easy part time jobs like working in a convenience store. A lot of students go for those working in a convenience store
mhm,
or in a bar
mm,
or in a restaurant. And these are the easiest to get, but the number one requirement is a level of Japanese, at least
My
intermediate level
gosh.
of Japanese.
I know,
And
I
that's very
know.
difficult. Mhm. So if you're a foreigner who does not speak Japanese, it's a little bit more difficult. So I would advise you, before you come to Japan, try and find foreign friends
Mm.
who are already in Japan, who can connect you to places you can do a part-time job where you can speak English or French.
Are there? Are
Uh,
they there? I don't know. I just like don't know if they are there.
they're there, but they're rare. Yeah, most people find teaching jobs like
Mm.
part-time teaching jobs at maybe a high school.
Mm.
You can go to English camp. Like I sometimes teach at English camps for
Mm.
high schools,
Mm.
and sometimes it could be maybe teaching older people English. You meet a
Mm.
group of them and you teach them English. Yeah, volunteering, and then there you could meet people who can recommend you, and then you will find a part-time job.
Mm. Anyway, like sometimes they say teaching is one of the job. Of course, teaching is one of the job that foreigner can get easily, teaching foreign language. But I wonder, is it easy to teach when you don't know Nihongo? When you don't know Japanese?
Yes, it is, because I'll give you an example of how I teach English in
Mm-hmm.
Zambia.
Mm.
Most of my students in Zambia are foreigners from French-speaking countries and Portuguese-speaking countries. And
Mm.
when they arrive, they don't speak any English.
Mm.
So if I get a student, for example, from Turkey, I don't speak Turkish,
Mm-hmm.
but this student does not speak English at all.
Uh-huh.
And I have to teach them English, but I don't
Uh-huh.
speak Turkish. I just teach them. I use pictures. I point at things until they
Mm.
start learning. So if I want to teach a person, my name is, I will say, my name is me,
Mm.
Subila, and I write it. You give examples, you point at things, and slowly they start to learn the words
Mm.
and it becomes easier. Yeah. So it's strategy. You
Mm-hmm.
find a strategy that works. Yeah.
And everyone could
And
use like the strategy
mhm.
that's like different depending on the individuals you are teaching.
Exactly. So I'll give you an example of high school students. When you're asked to teach high school students, sometimes they tell you do not use Japanese with them
Mm.
at all,
Uh-huh.
so that they can practice. Because
Mm.
Japanese students are usually shy and they
Yeah.
don't speak much in class. So you
Mm.
find their level of spoken English is very low, but they can write. So the teachers actually tell you do not use Japanese. So it's actually a requirement not to use Japanese. So you're lucky. Yeah.
Oh, I I didn't know.
Mm.
Wow. I definitely will come back and maybe Japan. If I come back, I will also do arbaito. I found it
Yes.
very difficult when I because I haven't done any rubaito. I find it's very difficult. I sometimes feel like I can regret. I regret sometimes. I think no.
I think also you should have made more friends with the Africans who've been here at our university for a long time,
Mm.
like Wusu Conte. Uh, he's had some jobs, like maybe working with certain companies, like delivery companies. You
Mm.
don't really need to speak much.
Mm.
So you just need the basics like thank you or here's your change and things like that.
Mm.
So you deliver something. So I also know a lot of students who work with maybe Uber Eats.
Mm.
You just pick up and drop off. So if you've got a bicycle, it's very convenient with deliveries. Yeah. So a lot of students also do deliveries. Yeah.
Overall, Japanese is still important because if you don't know
Mm.
Japanese, it's like you are not living here. You go out, you
Yeah.
speak to yourself.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
speak to
That's
your thoughts. You wonder like you can't ask help. You know when you're asking like it. For instance, for me, I
when you're lost.
sometimes I get lost. Even I have Google Map, or maybe the phone shut down in
Mm-hmm.
the way. Sometimes it happened to me,
So
and I couldn't be able to come
that's the
back
word.
because I couldn't transfer by myself. Then I have to ask people. Then they say English gomena, ego gomena sai, sumasen gomena. You know, like how asking like maybe more than 5 people in order to get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you realize Japanese
It's
is
very
important.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So what's the I want to like to know about like every time maybe I want to like to you to tell me about like how you manage to make your hair like that, because for me
Mm,
since I came,
great.
yeah, since I came, I shave by myself because I assume there are no barber which like can make my hair because they are not used.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
want to know for you, what do you do? Do you find like salon which can make your hair like that and can change, or you do by yourself?
For me, I've always done my hair by myself, even before coming to Japan,
Mm,
just as a preference. I'd like to braid my own hair. But
mm,
for African girls, I know a lady from Nigeria who's got a salon. Her salon is the most famous salon here in Tokyo.
mm,
She's been here in Japan for over 10 years. She's married. Her husband is also Nigerian, and her
mm,
children grew up here in Japan actually.
mm.
And most of my African female friends go to her salon to do their hair.
Where is it?
It's here in Tokyo actually.
Shibuya
Um,
or
but
Shinjuku?
she recently moved. No, 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 no. It's along Inokashira line. So from Medai Maya, you switch to Inokashira Sen.
Inokashira line is
Somewhere
around.
after
So it's
after
after Shibuya.
Shimokitazawa,
It's after Shibuya, I guess. Around
before
Shibuya.
Shibuya, before
Before,
Shibuya,
between Shibuya and
Medai Maya.
Medaimai. Yeah,
Yes.
I see.
Yeah. So and she's very friendly. She's very nice. She's Christian, very friendly. And while she's braiding your hair, you can chat about a lot of things. And yeah, she's very helpful. If you're new in Japan, she's very helpful with things like how to get used to Japan, where to buy things like makeup for
Mm.
Africans. Yeah. So sometimes you can even ask her to get some stuff for you because she imports the hair extensions and makeup and things like that.
So
Yeah, and she
you.
has a Facebook page and an
Mm,
Instagram page.
mm,
So you can make an appointment. And you know what's interesting is because
mhm,
her salon is the most famous one,
mm,
she's usually fully booked. So you
mm.
have to make an appointment at least a month before or 2 months before
Oh my God.
to get on
He
her
has many
schedule.
people.
Yes. Yes.
One
Because
month before. Mm,
even Black Americans go to her. So it's not just
mhm,
Africans,
mhm.
Black Americans also go to her salon. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's
So she's always busy.
what about Japanese? They don't like is there she doesn't have custom of Japanese custom who want to try such kind of hair?
There's some Japanese people who try. They like the
Mm,
braids and they want to try. Yeah, there's
mm,
some. And also near Tama Station,
mhm,
there's a little salon and
mhm,
they braid hair, but they're Japanese. So I've
mm,
never tried, but
mm.
they say they do dreads and braiding. So
Anyway, isn't it expensive?
it's very expensive. That's the catch. You have to be willing to spend a lot of money. So for example, my hairstyle right now
Mhm.
would be at least 18,000 yen.
$18. This is around $18.
Yes, yes,
I think it's expensive.
it's very
It's
expensive.
very expensive. Oh my
It is.
gosh. Have you tried once?
Once
Mm,
because I had graduation and I didn't have time to braid my own hair.
mm,
I when I was graduating as a research student, I
mm,
wanted to braid my hair, but I had no time to do it myself because I was so busy preparing. So that was my first time,
mm.
and yeah, she charged me 18,000 yen.
Takai
Hontou takai. Mm.
Oh, so how do you find
Quite
makeup? Is
expensive.
it
And
easy for you makeup like to find a makeup
for
which is
makeup, a lot of people import Amazon.
mm,
Amazon US is
mhm,
the best place to find all your makeup products.
mm,
But there's also a girl from the Philippines who imports some makeup from
mm,
China as well
mm,
and from Korea.
mm,
And so you can buy from the girl. She also has a Facebook page. You can just tell her before she brings in the stock. So she puts pictures and then you can order in advance.
mm.
But the best recommendation I can give is Amazon US,
Amazon US.
because you definitely find all the makeup products that you use back home
So they don't
with your
charge
skin
like a
tone.
delivering fee? There is no delivering fee?
There's shipping fee, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but of course there is. But if you're an Amazon Prime member, it's cheaper. And
Mm,
also the trick is buy as many things as possible. The
mm,
more things you buy, the cheaper your shipping cost will be. So if
yeah.
you're just buying one pack of lipstick, it's
Mm,
going to be expensive. Or you can buy from China,
mm,
AliExpress. A lot
mm,
of people also order from China, especially hair extensions and makeup, because it's
mm,
cheaper than
mm,
Amazon.
mm,
Definitely cheaper. And also, if you've got African friends in China, you
mm,
just ask them to buy for you in advance and send
mhm.
the package,
And it's
because
cheaper.
Japan is closer to China.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So I have a friend from Zambia who had a
mm,
scholarship and she's in China. So sometimes I ask her to send me hair products.
mm.
Yeah, that way it's cheaper.
Maybe you need to open also like a salon here so that you help
I think
African
so.
girls.
I think I should. But the thing is, there are very few female black women I know here
Mm.
in our area. Fuchu is so small and quiet.
Yeah, exactly. It's very small.
Yeah. Areas like Shibuya, Roppongi,
Mm.
definitely it would work. Yeah.
So when
Mhm.
are you graduating now? When will you graduate from masters?
Ooh, hopefully March.
This
Hopefully,
year?
fingers crossed.
This year?
March next year,
Next
March
year? Oh,
2022,
I
March.
confused like this year. I forgot that we are already like in July. My gosh.
It's almost over. We're halfway through the year. Halfway through. Yeah. So now I'm working on my thesis. Hopefully, I'll graduate in March, God willing.
Let me help you.
Thank you. I need it. I need it. It's been such a difficult journey, but
Yeah,
yeah, I can't wait to graduate.
I
Mm,
see.
mm.
After
I'm
graduation,
tired of that.
do you still
After
plan to live here
graduation,
for a short time or going back to, or you'll be
mm,
teaching in your home university through online?
well, after graduation, I'm not sure. I have to decide whether I want to continue with my PhD
Mm,
immediately
wow.
or start working.
Mm,
So it depends. I would ideally like to stay longer here in
mm,
Japan, because I feel like I need to still improve my Japanese level.
mm,
And I think it's easier if you're learning from the country itself,
mm,
especially for practice and everything. So I would like to stay longer,
mm.
and I would like to pursue my PhD possibly, but I think I'm tired mentally, because before coming I was doing another master's, so I'm very tired.
Did you complete the previous one?
The previous one, I did not defend my thesis because I
Mm,
had to come to Japan immediately.
but you have finished to wrote it. You have
The theoretical part,
mm,
yes, I finished the first year. I had my tests, my
mm,
exams.
mm.
Yeah, I passed.
Oh my god.
Yes, I'm a bit sad. I saw my friends graduating, and I had come here. Yeah,
Wow.
so my friends had their graduation ceremony.
Mm.
Yeah.
For me, I assume like maybe you have already like you are dual masters like holder. Even if once the first one you haven't like graduated officially, but it's
Yeah.
in the case you want it won't take you a long time.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, but because my university has the requirement, you can withdraw,
Mm,
then go back.
mm,
So what I did was, instead of just quitting, I withdrew so
mhm,
that I can just go back and do just the last part.
mm. Now do you feel
So
like
yeah,
the
so that's
energy
what
to
I
go
plan to
back?
do.
Is the energy still
Yes, I
there?
still want it, because that one is my favorite one. That one is in English and French.
Mm,
That's that's my first love, French.
mm,
I have to.
mm.
I
Lovely.
most definitely have to. Yeah,
So
it's
like
it's important.
if you wanna stay longer, is it like do you feel like I don't know, sometimes there is time you think like you need to start a new life, job, family. Don't you think about those stuff when you're in Japan?
Mm, the family part, no.
Mm,
The job part, yes. I'm
yeah.
worried about the job part, because already being a foreigner,
Mm,
and being a foreigner from Africa,
mhm,
it's the advantage is not really on my side. I don't know
Mm.
if you understand what I mean.
I
I
I
think
get you.
I feel like it's easier for European foreigners, for example.
Mm.
But being a foreigner from Africa, and during the COVID-19 times, it's more difficult because everything is online and most work is remote
Mm.
now. So the need for face-to-face employment is declining. So I'm
Mm.
worried, of course. I'm very worried that if I graduate and I want to stay and work,
Mm.
how is it going to be with application? I feel like it would have been easier the
Mhm.
previous years because I have some friends who were at Tufts
Mm.
who are now working
Mm.
and have very good jobs here in Japan, here in Tokyo. It was easier for them, I think, than it would be for me now during the COVID-19 times.
I see.
So of course I'm worried.
And they were
Definitely
girl.
worried.
I don't know
Mm.
if Japan is also with girls. I don't know, like employ labor
The
force for girls
gender
is not
thing,
it's not
yeah.
open like this, like boys. I don't
And also
know.
the field as well. Like the field of work
Mm.
limits also your type, like your opportunities. So if you want to, for example, study as a if you study linguistics and you want to work as a linguist,
Mm.
yeah, it's limited. And I'm a linguist, so it's not as easy as maybe an IT
Yeah, for
specialist.
IT people, like
You
they
see a
really
lot
get
of
job
job
easily. There's
opportunities.
still a job
You see a
opportunities.
lot of
Many,
advertisements.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so many. Mm.
So exactly, I think Japan is good for is easy to adapt for IT people.
Mhm.
This regardless of your background or maybe your it's you can easily get job, but
Yeah.
linguistic, this stuff of peace and conference studies for us is not easier
It's
to
not,
get it.
yeah. Maybe teaching English might be easy because that one is on in demand, of course. It's on
Mm,
demand.
mm,
But with now everything being online, I'm worried. Very worried.
I see.
Yeah. もう頑張ります。
Ganbatte, ganbarimasu.
Yeah.
I need to learn Nihongo when I will go back to Rwanda because I probably think I can come back to Japan. And
Mhm.
if I think in that way, coming back without speaking Nihongo will I will not enjoy. I will not enjoy.
You have to just use the app, use Duolingo app,
Mm,
watch videos,
mm.
watch movies until you at least speak a little bit of
Yeah, I
Japanese.
just
You
feel
have to.
jealous when I miss because there are many opportunities that I try to look for this time that I'm remained here, but because of my language
Hmm.
slow skills in the Japanese, I didn't really get like I was not the Horaki was not on my side, like you said.
Hmm.
I was like,
Hmm.
no, ego, 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 ego. We don't need the ego. We don't
Yeah.
need it. Yeah.
So if you push yourself, I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up. Yeah.
Maybe I need to try. But this time I'm
That
busy.
that's the point. Pushing yourself is the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
Because with Japanese, it's not like languages like French or Spanish where the written part is the same alphabet.
mm.
With Japanese, you need more effort than other languages.
Anyway, for someone who is coming to learn, who is studying, okay, which books can you recommend for someone who is taking the Japanese class or he's studying individually?
Studying individually,
Yeah.
the book called Genki,
Mm,
it's very good because it's got very good explanations in English.
mm,
And also the JLPT textbooks, the
mm,
language proficiency textbooks. If you
mm,
start from the first book N5, starting with the grammar books, they have very good explanations in English. For example, I
mm,
have one here.
mm,
This one, this one is N3 grammar,
mm,
but if you get the one which is N5, which is beginner's Japanese, you
mm,
find that the explanations are very good with the grammar and how to use them. They're very good examples.
mm,
So using those textbooks and the Tufts textbooks from JLC level one,
mm,
those are very good because they have translations in English and you understand better. But then don't just rely on textbooks. I always tell people textbooks are not enough.
No, they are not enough.
because it's one thing to read something, but for it to stick in your head, you also need to hear it. So it's very good to watch YouTube channels on Japanese language, especially with foreigners, because not all the grammar in textbooks is actually used in general
Mhm.
everyday Japanese.
Mm.
So you find even Japanese people will say, it sounds a bit strange. We don't use that. Yeah, it's
So,
correct, but we rarely
mm,
use that. So you need to also balance between textbook Japanese
and the
and
YouTube channel.
natural. Yeah. So try and watch videos on YouTube. A lot of people say they learn Japanese from anime, but that's a bit dangerous
Mm,
because the Japanese in a lot of anime is very casual, and
mm.
some foreigners have made the mistake of using casual Japanese with their teachers.
Ah,
That's rude.
it's become rude.
Yeah. So you have to be careful what you pick up from what you watch as
Mm,
well. Yeah. And of course, learning apps like Duolingo. Duolingo, I think, is one of the best.
mm,
They've really changed it so much. And I use it for practice every
mm,
day for at least 20 minutes.
mhm.
I do exercises on Duolingo. I practice Japanese. So it helps you with listening skills, reading skills, and it starts from the beginning, from
It means like even
hiragana.
you're a beginner, you can learn from Duolingo and until you finish. Is it free?
Very good. Yeah, you can use it for free with
Mm,
adverts. If you
mm,
don't want the adverts, you can pay for no adverts. But I use it with the adverts, and it's very helpful.
mm.
Yeah.
So how much is the book? Like, how much can someone get a book, Japanese book, like those Genki and the other those you showed me? Like,
The Genki textbook online, I found it for I think maybe 1,500 yen. But there
mm,
are a lot of pages on Facebook for foreigners,
mm,
which are called buy and sell, and
mm,
also leaving Tokyo.
mm,
So you find a lot of foreigners who are about to leave Japan
mhm,
want to get rid of their stuff, and a lot of them have these textbooks.
mhm,
So sometimes they give them away for free, or they
mm,
sell them to you for 500 yen, or you find they sent the whole set
mhm,
for maybe 2,000 yen. So
mm,
that's 5 books.
mm,
So I have a lot of secondhand textbooks with me,
mm,
which I bought from either students who
mhm,
were going back to their countries or
mm,
from just other foreigners who've been working here but are now leaving Japan.
mm.
So most of my textbooks are secondhand.
How long does it take to get second-hand book?
It doesn't take long
Mm.
because you just send them a message on Facebook and say, I
Uh-huh.
want that book. And you discuss how you pay for it and they send it to your address.
Do you bargain or the price is decided already?
You can bargain. That's
Oh
fine.
my God, I didn't know.
I, even tough students do that. Tough foreign students, they make a group on Facebook
Uh-huh.
and they just exchange things or sell things.
Mm-hmm.
So foreign students who are coming to Tufts don't have
Mm,
to worry about buying plates and pots and books.
mm,
They just join the group
mm,
and they either buy them or get them for free. I got a couch for free and a
mm.
washing machine for free. And a
Wow.
washing machine is about 20,000 yen, but I got
Mm,
mine for free. Yeah. And it's brand new.
mm.
Yeah.
I also got cooking rice for free, but I think like when you're going to throw them, you will also need to give free or you pay for throwing them.
Of course. Yeah. Yes, of course. So that's how you live like a family. You look out for each other. Foreigners
Yeah,
needs to look out for each other in Japan.
yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I see. Wow. After 3 years now, you get used to everything.
I still find some surprising things. I still get surprises. Yeah. Every day is a day to learn something new.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. What can you
So the
share?
next.
Like maybe the last like things like you want to share like for especially for African ladies, because many people will likely want to know how is it possible to come to Japan? Anyway, before also you say that, like you give like a hint of how someone can come to Japan for by scholarship, maybe makes, I don't know if Japan and Zambia have like a bilateral relationship. And I want to know, like when you apply for masters, you apply, you sit for test. Did you get scholarship in MEX, or you get scholarship from the university for master's studies?
Students who want to come to Japan, the most important thing before you even think about getting a scholarship is make sure your performance at school is good. You have good grades at your university. Because when you start applying for the next scholarship, for example, there's a screening process, and one of the things they check for is your
Great.
grades, your history at your university. So if you had good grades, then that's the first thing they check for. And then depending on what you want to study, there's also a requirement of Japanese proficiency. So if you're applying into a course like peace and conflict studies, you don't have to worry about language proficiency because that's a course that's taught in English. So when you're searching on the internet, the first thing you need to search for is courses taught in English, okay? And then from there, once you find the university you want to apply to, you start looking for scholarships. Because when you apply for your scholarship, you need to also tell them the universities you want to go to in Japan. So do your research. Know the universities in Japan and know the universities that support your speciality. Another important thing is make sure when you're writing your introductory paper, your thesis proposal, it has to be a topic that can benefit your country or Japan. You need to prove to them that when you finish and they've paid for you, you'll be able to either benefit your country or Japan. That's a very important thing because a lot of people think it's just any research. Your research has to be applicable to the situation. So the MEC scholarship is the biggest, of course. It's the most prestigious, and at the same time, it's also the most difficult. But we have an organization called Study in Japan Africa.
Yeah.
Study in Japan Africa helps African students find scholarships here in Japan. And every week, every month, there are webinars that give you information. And every time it's a different part of Africa. So sometimes it's West African countries, sometimes it's Southern African countries. And they have an Instagram page, they have a Facebook page. You just have to search for Study in Japan Africa.
Oh my God.
Yes.
The first time I hear about it, I didn't know.
I'm always sharing their information on my Instagram and on my Facebook. So on my Instagram, you actually find I share their information because I used to work with one of their offices in Zambia. They have a Hokkaido office at the University of Zambia, and I was working with some of their colleagues. So if you find their page, there's information every week, and you can also directly contact them. If you're an African student who wants to come to Japan, you contact them, you tell them what you want to study, which prefecture you want to go to, which university you want to study, and they'll help you. So they help you with the application process as well.
What about scholarship?
They tell you scholarships. They tell you which scholarships are available at a particular time, and they tell you how to apply. So they give you all the information.
How much?
If you're not sure, you call them.
The fees, don't you pay them like for the service they give you?
No.
It's free?
They don't. No, it's free information. That's what the organization is for. It's for African students who want to study here in Japan. Even the webinars are free. The only thing is you have to register a week before, so that you're on the list, because sometimes, with Zoom, there's a limited number of people sometimes that can join the meeting. So you have to register beforehand for all their webinars. If you miss the webinar, just send them an email or send them a Facebook message or an Instagram message. They reply immediately.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah. So recently they had one with Kenya.
Mm,
Kenya is one of the countries that has the largest number of Japanese students. African Japanese students.
mm,
So Kenya had one, Nigeria had a webinar recently, South Africa too.
mm,
So because the MEC scholarship as well, each country or region has a period. So you find it's open maybe for East Africa in maybe May, and you find it's closed for maybe Southern Africa. So that's another important thing. You need to know when it's open for your country. And also, you can go directly to the MEXT website. They
mm.
also have the information. But I advise you to just directly go to study in Japan to Africa. That one is helpful.
Actually, thank you
And
very much.
mhm.
I didn't know.
And
I
they all
was
speak
not.
English.
Yeah. And you know that we didn't tell you didn't tell the name like to people. What's your name? Actually, I want
I was
also
very
maybe
surprised.
people.
I said, huh,
Mm.
they're going to guess my name.
Yeah, they're going to guess your name, and I would like maybe people you do write poetry and like books on Amazon. You can
Hmm.
show your book. Maybe people can be interested to read your books and maybe know how you are doing in Japan. Because
Yeah.
I just see you like I don't know. You are doing good according to me because
I'm
you are
good.
writing books. Like yeah.
Okay, so everyone, I'm Suvila. I'm from Zambia originally, and I've been staying in Japan for almost 3 years. And last year, I published my first book. It's a collection of poems. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy with me right now. But yeah, it's a collection of poems with 5 chapters. Each
Mm,
chapter has a different theme. There's romance, there's heartbreak, there's life
mm,
experiences, death,
mm.
beauty,
Oh.
there's feminism, there's literally every topic you could think of and you can relate to. And it's available on Amazon, Amazon Japan, Amazon US, Amazon Global. And also, of course, there are copies available in Zambia, in my country as well. And hopefully, very soon, I'll be able to have it in different bookstores.
Mm.
I'm working on that. Yeah,
How
so
much is your
that's
book on
basically
Amazon?
me. On Amazon right now, the hard copy is $8, and then the Kindle is $6. In
So,
Japanese yen, it's about 1,200 yen,
mm,
roughly. Yeah.
it's not expensive
So
though.
buy a copy.
Is it in French or English?
It's in English,
Mm,
but recently I've been translating my poetry into different languages. So on my Instagram page, you can find my poems both in English, Spanish, French, and also I'm writing Japanese haiku now,
Aiko.
which is a type of poetry in Japanese.
I will share like maybe in the description. I will share your Instagram. People can follow you on Instagram. Then they can be seeing like what you do, how you do.
Thank you.
Mm.
Mhm. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
very
hope you get to
much.
see. I hope you come to Japan, please.
I'll keep in touch and I want to come back actually for PCS. But I just think sometime I need maybe to try another university. I don't know. Sometime I think in that way. I'm not sure.
We'll be waiting for you to come
Yeah.
back. Yeah, definitely. Thank
Thank
you so much. I was
you.
so honored. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking me to come. I was humbled and honored and very happy. I'm sorry it took so long. I've been so busy.
Yeah. It's
My
okay.
apologies.
It's okay. People will, I think people will like it. Although my YouTube channel haven't grown, but I think this information can be important for anyone, regardless of the country, because the information you gave can apply to everyone.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm still working on
Of
it,
course.
like
Yeah.
looking for information, like looking for what could be
And
important
keep
for people.
sharing. I will keep sharing and everyone subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone should subscribe. I will share it.
Thank you.